Hello and welcome to Financial Intelligence. In this video, I want to talk about the semiconductor shortage and its impact on the auto industry. Semiconductor chips are ubiquitous. Without them, a lot of products will not work. One of the most surprising outcomes from the COVID has been the semiconductor shortage, which has adversely impacted the production of everything from high-end electronic devices to automobiles. Unfortunately, the US share of global semiconductor manufacturing capacity has been on a steady decline as shown in this chart. This means that the US relies heavily on other countries for its semiconductor chip supplies. The pain has been so sharp for so many businesses that it has prompted the US government to start considering whether to bring production onshore, given the fact that Asian countries control an estimated 2/3 of global output. The automotive industry has been very adversely affected in particular. For instance, GM has announced that because the company couldn't get enough chips, some of GM's newest cars won't have a critical feature, an advanced fuel management system that saves gas. As a result, their new pickup trucks will have a lower fuel economy. Major auto manufacturers such as GM and Ford have resorted to temporary closure of their assembly plants due to worsening supply chain issues. In this video, I want to explore 3 key reasons as to why the auto industry has been hit so hard by the chip shortage. If you like the type of content that I provide, subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up, and also hit the notification bell so that you won't miss any of my future videos. Reason number 1, just-in-time production. Just-in-time production methodology played a key role in exacerbating the impact of supply chain issues on the auto industry. Just-in-time production methodology requires building smaller factories which focus on quickly turning small amounts of raw materials into small amounts of physical products. Processing smaller batches allows the manufacturers to reduce financial risk while slowly generating sustainable levels of working capital. In general, companies employing just-in-time manufacturing practices enjoy reduced cycle times, faster times to market, and reduced operating costs. However, just-in-time manufacturing practices create some potential risks as well. In order to find success with just-in-time production, it is important to find suppliers that are close by or that can supply materials quickly with limited advance notice. This means that any major event that can disrupt supply chains will have major implications for just-in-time manufacturers. The COVID-19 pandemic was such an event. It caused global chip shortages that have had more severe consequences for companies that rely on just-in-time manufacturing practices. Reason number 2, long lead times and canceled orders. In 2020, with panic, lockdowns, and general uncertainty rolling across the globe, automakers canceled some of their chip orders. In the meantime, a big fraction of the workforce started working from their home offices. Those conditions meant increased demand for purchasing computers, monitors, and other equipment. Moreover, entire school systems switched to virtual learning via laptops and tablets. And more time at home also meant more spending on home entertainment such as TVs and game consoles. These factors, plus the 5G rollout and continued growth in cloud computing, quickly consumed the capacity automakers had abruptly freed. By the time carmakers realized people still wanted to buy their cars, they found themselves at the back of the line for the chips they needed. Because of the increased demand from the wireless and computer industry, new supply is hard to come by, and the surge in demand is not going to be abating anytime soon. Manufacturing semiconductor chips is an intricate capital-intensive process with long lead times that involves weeks of production. Since new supply cannot be created instantly, and sometimes it may take years for new facilities to come online, the chip shortage is going to take a while to be resolved. Reason number 3, low profit margins of chips used in cars. The production process for each generation of semiconductor chips is different. Newer chips have bigger profit margins that gives the major manufacturers more incentives to invest in their production instead of diverting resources to increase capacity for older generation chips. The capital-intensive nature of semiconductors also concentrates manufacturing into the hands of a few companies, and the barriers to entry for new companies rise with new generations of chips. This is another reason why the chip shortage issue in the automotive industry is being compounded. The car manufacturers do not use the most advanced or bleeding edge chips, which offer chip manufacturers higher profit margins. Cars require thousands of predominantly older generation chips compared to smartphones and other gadgets that need a handful of newer ones. Therefore, despite the auto industry's desperation, there is no great rush to build older generation chips because the return on investment just isn't there. I hope that you liked this video. If you have any recommendation or suggestion, add them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel, and also hit the notification bell so that you won't miss any of my future videos. Thank you and take care.